If you've watched Brian David Gilbert's Unraveled and you enjoyed it, there's a good chance you've also watched a video titled Brian David Gilbert Out of Context. Whether you've seen one of Kwon's seemingly infinite parts or one of the 19,000 video search results, you probably know the format. Unraveled, a series with a surprisingly wide appeal, would be incomplete without Brian at the helm. I discovered Polygon through Brian. Somehow, Unraveled manages to share no similarities with any content he had ever produced. But before any Good Cheap Games or Weekend Review was made, Polygon had found itself in a bit of a slump. Despite being founded by the infamous Griffin Crunch McElroy, Justin McElroy, and 14 other friends, by 2018, things had changed. Many of the fan-favorite video producers, including the McElroys and Nick Robinson, had left the company. Polygon was struggling to pull viewers. But there was still hope. With Jenna Stober and Brian as recent hires, the future of Polygon was in their hands. Unraveled, which at the point of writing this holds 2 out of the 3 most viewed Polygon videos and 9 out of the channel's 12, has outperformed anything else they ever could have anticipated. But let's put ourselves in Brian's shoes for a minute. You've made a couple series and they haven't performed the best. Polygon is making full-fledged video essays and that's not your tempo. So you try to pitch something new. You walk into Tara Long's office and you try to explain. It's like a video essay. It informs the viewer, but also it's not helpful. It's a joke, but I'm in a suit and tie. It's a dumb idea that takes itself way too seriously. And faster than you could say time break, Brian cracked the code on an untouched market. He had made something that appealed to gamers, musical theater heads, and nerds alike. But how did he do it? Unraveled is a series going overly in-depth into video game lore and memes. How can it have mass appeal? Well, let's talk about how each video is structured. Each episode generally follows the same sort of outline. It starts with Brian introducing the problem he's gonna solve. Whether it's that the Zelda timeline makes no sense or that Mario doesn't have a retirement plan, it seems that the more absurd, the stronger the reaction to the video. But it's Unraveled after all, so it's Brian's job to try and solve it. Brian starts out as plain and simple as possible, filling in the viewer on history they may not know along the way. Brian has even said that he hasn't played all the games he talks about. As silly as the videos are, real research goes into them.
Wow. I have to keep that kind of on the DL. I just read wikis. My thought process is that people know that, and also I kind of appreciate the fact that I've now done multiple Unraveleds about games that I have no connection with whatsoever. But it allows me to be really, neutral and can really cut into the meat of it.
But what sets the series apart is that midway through the episode, Brian's no longer able to keep it simple. The video explodes. We end up with Monopoly and Brian realizing he can no longer retire. This format, which has stayed almost identical since day one, isn't the whole picture. Only a couple episodes in, after Brian has found his footing, he's able to relax. Aided by Patrick Gill and the rest of the team at Polygon, Brian is able to take on a new voice, something more creative and distinctive. But not just Brian had found a voice. The series and the surrounding community did as well. Instead of being merely faux educational, the following episodes felt more natural, and fans agreed. Searches for Brian David Gilbert soared in the coming weeks, with the perfect poker app bringing tons of new fans to the channel. And so it's no surprise that with new eyes on Polygon and Brian, we started seeing fans dive headfirst into the fandom. We started to see fans make their own mashups of content we would come to love. Content known none other as BDG Out of Context. And this is the heart of the community. Millions of views, tens of thousands of eyes, and so many of them watching these little compilations. So I wanted to learn about Out of Context as a genre. Kwon, who's become the largest name in the community, has been able to make a following around this. She's managed to accumulate 7.5 thousand subscribers and over 3 million total views in the past couple of years alone.
Hi, my name is Kwon. I edit videos on the internet. But yeah, I am a college student, technically a graduate student now, going to New York for graduate school.
She's more than just the BDG editor. She found Brian's content separate to Polygon, but hadn't connected the dots until she started to watch Unraveled. And just like the rest of us, she was hooked. She had been a longtime fan of Star Kid musicals, and after watching some out-of-context videos of them, she realized that she could take the concept and apply it to Unraveled, and later, all things Brian.
Again, I'm not like super scared about like how it'll perform because I didn't really start this channel to like do that.
June doesn't care about the stats, but that doesn't mean she isn't aware of them.
Truly, the YouTube algorithm is like you watch one kind of video and it recommends you all of them. That's really also another great way to get like really deeply invested in BDG, and really one of the ways that I've like sucked my friends into it.
That's where the guys come from, but it's not why they stick around. To stay on YouTube, you need to be pulling consistent views. Videos can have millions of views, but until you build a community, it's just one video. It's a trap that even Brian has fallen into. At one point, uploading short-form content, videos like My Laugh is Gross would pull views, but not keep them around. And somehow, the community surrounding June is nothing but supportive. June wasn't the first to make this discovery. Going all the way back to the days of Gil and Gilbert, there were YouTube and Twitter accounts making content just like it. The most notable being Gilbert and Gil, a YouTube channel set up on April 16th, 2018, with its first video uploaded the same day. Similar to June, they managed to pull consistent views. Unfortunately, though funny in its own right, it never reached the viewership or fan base that June did. It's impossible to say for certain the reason. But with more eyes on BDG because of Unraveled, it makes sense. I believe there's another card at play though. Unraveled is made for the out-of-context format. It tells a cohesive story in each episode, but has the moments to back it up. Similar to the gourmet make videos over at Bon Appetit, Brian spends each episode losing his mind a little. These glimpses of Schadenfreude are what make the moment memorable. It's what makes the series great, and it's why Brian teases each episode with his own out-of-context clip. It's important to remember that despite Brian complaining about all the work he does, on some level it's probably a blast. 700 pages doesn't sound like fun, but if those pages are the lore of your favorite game, it's a dream job. Brian gets to nerd out a little bit. And with the achievement of high school theater under his belt, he's able to have a little more fun. Instead of just talking about the enemies in Mario or the food in Zelda, he gets in character and tells a story. That character, BDG, the overly serious gaming nerd. And so people like watching this character lose his mind because it makes sense. That Schadenfreude is laughable because the character doesn't realize how insane it is that he's trying to make new music for Fallout. So now, on both sides of the scale, you have comedy and seriosity. Brian has to make the audience laugh, but still has to try and find an answer. That's why people are drawn to the content. It's how Brian is able to balance that scale. He's able to stay funny, have his breakdown, and still come out the other side with a conclusion. And balancing these is tricky. It's why so many fans Unraveled are people just listing facts, or just one giant joke. As hard as you try, sometimes a video is better as a spreadsheet, or maybe a list of similarities between yourself and a dance-instructing, tangly, loving boy. Anyway, all good content has something to balance. And all good content misses the mark sometimes. Vloggers balance making beautiful vlogs and still having a personal life. Makers have to balance good video skills and good craftsmanship. Even RT Game has to balance being Irish with being funny. And yet, against all odds, BDG was able to crack the code. He was able to do the impossible. He made being a nerd fun to watch, and brought people together while he did it. I'll leave you with this. It isn't every day that someone cracks the code. Only so much content in the world can be shown. You try to teach your audience what doesn't matter. It's not surprising that nobody asked for Unraveled. But you decided you would break that rule and I should my support with a meme on April Fools. You pushed the envelope with things unique and new. A community was born of people looking up to you. But the videos you make, I hope you never take for granted. The videos have helped me way more times than I had planned. It's such a harmless source of joy, something that you did contribute to. You got the chance you wanted and you did nothing but follow through. You help create something good, a series like these. Things that help communities turn friends games turned families. You built a great community, supportive in its name, and together we can make much more than a video about a game.